Tiny homes not allowed in Haywood County.
After all, there are still 150 families that we know of in hotels. That doesn't include those who are still couch hopping, sleeping in cars, trying to make do at a relative's, or still residing in a makeshift home. And yes, I get calls about those every day.
This has sparked significant controversy, especially after YouTuber John Ward from the Appalachian channel made a video on the subject which went viral, prompting a county commissioners meeting.
That is not true.
All 5 of us on the first video, but the second video he released only had 4 of us.
There's people living in tents as we speak. I drove down there this morning.
I'm pleased to report to you today, 0 people were found. And I'll tell you why. Because our churches in this community came together. There are social media antagonists who are out there saying things about our county that are not true.
I delivered body warmers this morning to babies that are outside. It's 20 degrees when I saw them this morning.
And for the sheriff to come out here and say there's 0 people in tents, and then the other people come up and said, I just spoke with people today in tents.
John and I attended this meeting, and I was there to document John. In this documentary, you'll see how John was slammed by 4 county commissioners, except for one commissioner named Terry Ramey. Terry appeared in the first viral video that John did, along with Amanda Fowler, a pastor at a church in Canton. She, along with other concerned citizens, spoke during the meeting. And in an unusual turn of events, State Representative Mark Pless showed up. Why is it that John Ward's videos sparked so much controversy?
Somebody might be going to call for a vote.
You never stopped his
Nobody said
misinformation.
this.
About 20 minutes in is when things really get heated, so make sure you sit down, relax, grab a coffee or some popcorn. You'll want to watch this entire documentary, and don't forget to leave a comment on your thoughts after you finish watching.
And my suggestion was that let them live under that arena. Bring them in out of the cold.
That arena he's talking about is owned by the county.
We met at Terry's property, and he was wanting to show me where, I can let people come down through here and stay. He was willing to let them come there, and I'm like, Terry, there's no electric, there's no water, there's no bathrooms.
My concern is I just want to make sure we don't have nobody sleeping in the cold.
Absolutely.
We're better than that. We need to take care of these people, in my opinion. Like I say, my concern is just to try to get these people, until we can get them in these FEMA trailers and stuff, to, it's going to get cold in there too. And if it takes 2 months to get them in there, then they would be out of wherever we put them, and into their FEMA places and stuff. But we're having trouble finding land to put them on. We didn't
have no trouble. I found it in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but there's 4 more people has to agree to that.
So that's right. So they're going to have to vote on that. But this is owned by the county, and these people live in this county, and I feel that the county should be able to temporarily let people come here and stay.
For people to live in mobile homes or campers forever, we're just wanting to get them through the winter. Get the county on board.
And we need to do it fast, not next month, today. We need this going on. It's got to happen now because...
I think whatever we need to do to temporarily get these people by, I think it's our duty to take care of these people. They took care of us, and I think we need to take care of them the best we can. So if, like I say, I'm just one, but if the rest of them be interested in it, I'm interested.
County commissioner don't vote for this, he ain't getting elected next term. That's my opinion. They don't need to be elected. If they ain't going to help their people, what good are they, Terry? You're here helping them, and these other 4 guys that's on that board, they need to step up and get this done quick.
John takes the stand.
I'm John Ward with the Appalachian Channel. I'm from Fowler, Tennessee, but I've been residing in North Carolina for the past 2 months. I'm the one that made the video, and I was not directing anything bad towards anybody on the first responders or the sheriff's department. They all fulfilled their job perfectly. My problem is with FEMA. FEMA is now looking for property here. They should have been here 2 days into this, not 2 months into this.
They were.
Why are they just now looking for property? They need property. My suggestion is, why does the county not lease them property on the fairgrounds? The county will make money from it. They could immediately get people on the property. Everybody would be win-win. The county would make money, FEMA would have property, and people would have places to go. I know 25 trailers that set up on a private citizen's property that people's living in on generators right now. That's not a good situation for them. There will be a video of that, and it will come out of these 25 trailers. We're just trying to get these people out of the cold. And my suggestion was that let them live under that arena. Bring them in out of the cold. Trailers can be donated. If FEMA's not going to help, I was asking you all to help and give them a place to stay. I was not trying to direct anything bad towards anybody. I was just trying to find a solution for a problem that's going to be really bad come January. Thank you.
John Ward is for the people. I first met him in Green River Cove, a valley south of Asheville, where 40 homes were washed away.
No. This is one of the worst places hit. There's no news, there's no one talking about it.
John showed me where a 7-year-old boy and his father were found dead, buried under mud. They were found by cadaver dogs and had to be removed with an excavator. The mother is still missing. John has helped raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for those in need.
This is Jake Jarvis with Precision Grading. He's a native here to Saluda. Tore down a lot of houses, and it's hard for people to, pay to have their house tore down and push the road. So he's been working on donations and people helping him, and they see what he does from his page on Facebook, Precision Grading. You can see every day he posts pictures of things he's done.
At Camp Rosebuds, he wakes up at 4 in the morning and helps around camp. John has a good heart.
And I spoke to Kim Castaneda, the town clerk in Clyde. She told me they had temporarily removed restrictions for campers in tiny homes for 180 days, but Haywood County's pre-processed zoning permit regulations won't allow them. Is that true?
There are still hundreds of people in this county alone that are sleeping in a tent. I talked to someone this morning locally who said that there's over 100 at one camp, one spot, and I respect the sheriff's information this morning, but maybe those people are afraid, maybe they're hiding, but that's 100. I have no misinformation coming, so I don't look at social media.
If you would finish up your comments, I've let you go way over. I mean, you got 3 minutes and you've gone probably 6 or 7 or 8.
Would you please consider letting me have the 3 minutes that Miss Lindsay
No, we
Gregory
don't
gave
do that.
up?
I'm sorry. We don't do that.
I know for a fact people were living in tents, and for several weeks after that, I witnessed those people in tents with my own eyes. So I know there was a need. I know there was a need several weeks afterwards.
It's not about the code and the regulations and the control that you have over these people. It's about the cold weather that's coming and these people that are asking for your help. There's people out here that are sitting here doing Jesus' work, helping thy neighbor, and you guys are sitting here discussing whether those people can help thy neighbor or not. This is a sad, sad meeting.
I'm literally outside every single day talking and shaking hands with the people that are living in tents. Some people say that there's no people living in tents, but Friday evening, as I was going down handing out 10-degree sleeping bags to people, we were giving them to people that were in tents. So there are people still living. There might not be as many because we've been putting people into campers and stuff like that. Really want to go look, all you have to do is just go on the Clyde and drive down the Pigeon Road and look off to your left, and there's people living in tents as we speak. I drove down there this morning.
I delivered body warmers this morning to babies, 3-year-olds, that are outside. It's 20 degrees when I saw them this morning. I understand that there are ordinances that are standing in place to get those babies into campers. I understand that there are community members sitting in this room who have land for those campers. So my question to you is, as I continue to feed them, how do we get them into warm shelters that are temporary until we can figure out how to make that happen? I'm asking you because you, Mr. Easley, had a baby in here today. That baby cannot lay in a bassinet with this warmer. It will burn them. How do we keep those children warm? How do we make sure that those children that are in our schools are going and not only being fed, but are warm enough to learn and to be better off later on? These are our future leaders. These are the leaders that will be sitting in your places, and they will be looking back and questioning why you didn't stand up. So my question is, how are we going to help them help our community later?
Then it was time for Amanda's turn to speak.
From the beginning, we have been boots on the ground all over trying to meet the needs of our neighbors. As the immediate needs of food and supplies were being met, we began shifting to trying to meet the housing crisis in the short term until more could be done through FEMA or other long-term solutions. Toward the end of October, we met with county building inspectors Guerin and Todd in an attempt to partner and work together to come up with a solution. In this meeting, we offered up a solution in regards to rustic cabins that would fall under the primitive camp statute. This was by no means meant to be permanent, but it would have been safer and better than a tent at the moment. We offered solutions at that time to many of the concerns that have been spoken about in recent commissioners' meetings in regard to carbon monoxide, anchoring, removal, etc. We offered to show all of the plans that have been stamped by structural engineers. We met the criteria for safety codes and the square footage to not need permitting so that these could go into effect immediately. Shelters similar to these have been used in other cities like Greensboro to house their homeless, and not even in a time of disaster, so we know it's possible for them to be allowed. Ordinances are for ordinary times. This is not ordinary times. Even the allowance of campers for families has been a challenge due to some of the unreasonable expectations in regards to where they can be placed and requiring full hookup capabilities. Obviously, this has caused a stir within the county that was unintentional. We simply want our people to be out of the cold, and we're out of time. We're asking to have a meeting to sit down and come to a resolution that houses families, especially those that fall into a shelter hotel checkbox gap right away. Not another month or two from now. We needed a resolution yesterday, but it's not too late for us to work together to make a difference. After all, there are still 150 families that we know of in hotels. That doesn't include those who are still couch hopping, sleeping in cars, trying to make do at a relative's, or still residing in a makeshift home. And yes, I get calls about those every day. Where will these families go?
When it was time for the state representative to speak, the room got even more quiet, and this time the commissioners were not concerned that he went over 3 minutes.
Looks like the honeymoon's over. You two won by a resounding majority. To have been here as long as you've been here, that's very commendable. And I'll be the first one to say I don't agree with every decision you make, but the cool thing is I get to say that to you. And I can say, you know what, Kevin, I don't think that was the right idea. Brandon, Tommy, Jennifer, Terry, the county managers, anybody I want to, I can say that. But I'm at least man enough to say, I don't agree with the decision. The problem is these people are casting on you something that's not yours. Senate Bill 382, which is setting in a precarious position right now, is going to do what they're asking you to do. The only difference is, because of state law, you don't have the authority to bypass it. We are the ones who can bypass it. The sad part is even if you bypass it now, a big part of these people that they're talking about are in the ETJ for Clyde. I've already been through that. Clyde doesn't have to relax any regulation whatsoever. But if we pass that bill, that takes care of this problem until March. I feel most certain that it would be extended again. There's people in this room that have been told that, and yet they still came today to try to demoralize you and talk bad about you and try to force you into a corner. And they've been told that's not your decision, that's my decision. The problem is I'm in disagreement for a lot of reasons with Senate Bill 382. So if it stays in the current situation, there's a good possibility that that relief will not come. We do not go back into session until January 29th, once this session is over next week. There may not be any relief. But you know why people are staying in tents? Because somebody's telling them, we're going to get this law passed. We're going to get through this. We're going to make this happen. No, you're not. They blasted you for your egos, and I know each of you's heart. I've served with you. I've been around you. I have watched you. The arrogance isn't coming from the board. The arrogance is coming from the people out here that are being told you can't do what you want to do. The law that was brought up to you about the primitive, I had a conversation last night with that, doesn't pertain here. I had it researched in Raleigh because that was the first thing I was told that could be done. It can't be interpreted that way. I have a copy here with me, and I'll leave it with your attorney to look at it, but it is a primitive camp. You can use it for recreation, you can use it for instruction, you can use it for people that just want to get away for the weekend, but you can't use it for permanent housing. I've sat back there and I've kind of vibrated the whole time I watched this show, and this is a show, and there's a lot of people sitting in this room that need to go home. This is not their home. It's my home. I've been here 57 years. The day that the floods were happening, I was in Canton in a rescue boat, risking my life to get to people. while they're sitting in Boone, Bessemer City, who knows where. But now they come riding in here on a white horse because they need recognition. I'm very disappointed in the pastors that are in this room today. There's no way in the world they would allow a constituent in their church come in and talk down to them, being the pastor. Whether you agree with somebody or you disagree with somebody, you can voice your opinion, but you need to do it with love. How can you be a pastor of a church and talk down to people just in your tone? And I'm really good at talking. A lot of you have known me a long time. Sometimes I step across the line, sometimes I do it intentionally, sometimes I don't. But nonetheless, they knew what they were saying. You could tell the distaste. That's not pastorly. You can't judge people if you're helping people. I have no idea what the attendance is at any of these churches, but I will say this much. If I walked in there and I had made a mistake on Saturday night, how comfortable would I sit on Sunday morning? I'm very discouraged by that. The last thing I want to leave you is, I honestly don't think that you're doing anything incorrect. I think you're doing the best you can do in a situation that happened 8 weeks ago, roughly. We weren't ready for Fred. That's where we all got our baptism, so to speak. We know a lot more right now than we knew when Fred hit. That was a very big learning experience for every single one of us. Had you not had that experience, I know where you would be. The same place my other county's in, the same place Yancey's in, Mitchell, all these other places that are just figuring it out. They're just now getting to where you guys have been since 2 weeks into it because you knew what needed to be happening. 2004, when the flood hit, everybody learned how to do it, but we didn't have another one for many, many years. And the people that were leading at that time had no idea. I appreciate all you've done. I really do. And I hate that these people have taken it and made it personal, because this is not supposed to be personal. You're serving. There's not a single one of them that's going to come up here and take your seat. There's no way they're going to put up with what you put up with every day. There's no way that they're going to have people disagree with you and talk bad about you and send you the countless text messages, as bad as they are, because they know the people around them. Those people will devour them. And Terry, this is to you. You can sit there all day long and you can say you ain't stirred nothing. Everybody knows it's a lie. The bad part is these people are going to turn on you the second that you don't do something they want to do. I had high hopes for you. I had really high hopes for you. You're a scrapper. That's all you do. You just fight. You don't know when to stop. You don't know when to quit. The signal of being a man or a woman, when you assume this role here, is you put aside your personal opinion and you do what's in the best interest for the people of this county, not what's going to make you a name, and not what's going to make you important, and not what's going to make other people think that you know more than you do. We don't have the answers, but you got an attorney that can give you the answer. You got a county manager that can give you the answer. You got all these people here. It's not fair for you to turn on them. I opposed them as much as anybody.
I'm not turning them. I told in the video
it's my turn to talk. I opposed them as much as anybody, but I tried not to oppose them in public. I tried every way in the world. I cast a no vote because I didn't agree with something. I didn't make a production about casting a no vote. Serve with them or step down. You can't fight this fight, and you can't be in the best interest of Haywood County doing what you're doing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you coming out today.
A matter of fact, John, the YouTube sensation, released a video on Saturday from Rutherford County, and it said, and I quote, "Yes, these people are staying in tents, and that's okay because they're good tents."
That video she's talking about is this one.
Good morning. This is John Ward with the Appalachian Channel. And it stalled out. The best explanation I can find, that front stalled out on the Blue Ridge Mountain, and it stayed here, and it rained. It rained 30 inches of rain in these hollers and these mountains. And it washed away people and lives by the thousands. And I've done another video on that. You know, the DEFCO in North Carolina is 103, but it's actually in the thousands. And it ain't a conspiracy theory on that one. At first I thought it was. until I found where they had excavated bodies. They not let them live in tiny houses because, one, those tiny houses ain't gonna be worth much on property taxes. Two, it's gonna bring the property value down around anybody else in that area. And three, nobody else is gonna wanna build a multi-million-dollar home where there's somebody living in a little tiny house. Hoping to push the Haywood County commissioners to make a vote to let people come on that property. Trying to figure out why would they not allow these tiny houses. It's because they want rid of these low-income people. Give these people 18 months on this property, county officials, lease this property to FEMA, and make some money for the county. And it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for the people that's gonna be living there. It's a win for FEMA finding property, and it's a win for the county for making some money. I'm sure FEMA will pay out pretty good for this property. The tent you see behind me up here is the first tent that we've got up, but we got the first family in there last night. Got a kitty here this morning.
Camp Rosebuds is actually a petting zoo that the owner, Rosalie, decided to turn into a recovery camp for Helene victims. A family of 8 who was homeless from Helene and couldn't afford to pay for motels saw one of John's videos about Camp Rosebuds. They called Rosalie and they came all the way from South Carolina for help.
She would like to meet you.
Oh, okay. Well, let me give you a hug, sweetheart. You're here. You're gonna be camping right with me, okay? We'll try and get you some heat going right now. So they wasn't real happy with me or Commissioner Terry Ramey, who is for the people, wanting to save these people from freezing. You got 5 county commissioners and you got Terry Ramey. He was wanting to put these people on his property. I went there to film it and I said, Terry, this ain't a citizen's issue, it's a county issue.
I think we're all trying to do the right thing. I understand my work ethic and I know how hard I work. I know how hard I work for the citizens. Saturday night, I sent out a text message and I said, I want to go look for these people. I have a text message that says, because of really kind people, there's nobody out there. So you can't have it both ways, Terry. Either we've got people cold and on the ground or we don't. What you've done accomplished let me finish, absolutely nothing.
What I've done.
We have people who need housing, but a storage building, per the North Carolina building inspector, with no toilet and no place to cook a basic meal, which would require refrigeration and a microwave, is not adequate. I don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night and trot outside and use the bathroom. These units don't have bathrooms in them. And you went on to say that it's really terrible to live in a camper, and I Googled that this morning. 3.1 million people reside in an RV in the winter months from October to April. So 3.1 million people can't be wrong. So let's quit dividing the board and let's try to work together for a resolution. When you call in a YouTube person who
I resent that. That's not true. That's 100% not true. That's a lie.
Let me also say that he
is
put
not true.
all 5 of us on the first video, but the second video he released only had 4 of us. Your name and address and contact information wasn't on there.
Had no idea about that video.
Well,
matter of fact, I didn't call him in here. That's another lie.
We have a lot of work to do. Dividing the board accomplishes absolutely nothing.
Guess that would be different then than that joint statement, wouldn't it? Dividing the board.
Safety issue. Let me also, I was going to leave this out, but let me also say this. In November of 2022, Cherokee County, which is a county here in North Carolina, was involved in a large lawsuit. That lawsuit had to do with one of their county departments. Rightfully so. The awards to those plaintiffs was $45 million. No, sir, it's 11. So they were insured, and they were insured for half. But the judgment said, beginning immediately, they would begin to make restitution payments to those plaintiffs. 11 cents on the millage rate. So let me say that a little different. That's 11 cents on every taxpayer in that county, because they had a rogue department that didn't follow the rules. When we do that, when we step out and we say, we're going to be rogue commissioners, we're going to do what we want to do when we want to do, and we end up in a lawsuit, ain't nobody saving us, Terry.
I'd like to clear something up about about me bringing a YouTuber in. I'd never met this man in my life until he came to my house. I'd never met this man in my life. That's incorrect.
Apologize.
That is incorrect,
But you certainly
100%.
did not defend
And
what
the
we've been
second
doing.
thing is, I'd like to thank everybody here, whether you're from Haywood County or not, if you care about people and you come here to try to help us solve this problem, I want to thank you for that. That is, y'all have been a great help. There's campers here that would never had if you people hadn't come in. There's campers all over the place. I know where there's a bunch of them up other end of town up here, and they're all over town. And just like Twada, that has got that one in for these people over here at Clyde, that it's setting a new covenant church right there. You people are what made that happen. That didn't happen right here. That happened from people that cared about Haywood County. And myself personally, I'm sure they do too, but I appreciate all the help we've got. And I help everybody, I appreciate everybody that came here. I was not involved in that, John. You know I didn't know you from Adams House Cat, still don't really know you. But when you asked me to take you to the fairgrounds, I went down and showed you the buildings you asked me to show you. You came up with the video yourself on the spur of the minute thing. I did not do that. That's not true. That's 100% not true. And I also,
Why didn't you stop it in the
all
moment?
I want is our people to care. FEMA has stepped up. Our county employees have stepped up, right, sent a letter to all the big senators and legislators and everything, and this right here helped it get done. This right here helped it get done. All these people right here that are helping all the citizens in Haywood County, that's the way Haywood County is. It's the citizens that's got these people out of the cold. They keep bad-mouthing everybody that's been out here helping. This misinformation. I'm yet to find out where the misinformation is, because I don't like to use that word, because I see what it done in the last campaign that went on nationwide. That word that's not a good word for me. But anyway, with people working together is how we solve this. Bringing attention to stuff is how things get solved. It don't get solved fighting like everybody wants to do around here. It's dividing. The whole nation has been divided, and you see how it turned out this last election because of people saying stuff like that. And I just want everybody to know that I appreciate everybody. It don't matter what county you're from, what state. We've got coming in. I had a motorhome donated yesterday from all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. And all these people that are inside these campers.
It was Van and Fowler that asked me to come here, by the way.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I just wanted to clear that up, because everybody talks about everybody else saying misinformation. There sure has been a whole lot of it the last minute or two over that, because I don't appreciate that, because that is absolutely not true. I'm here to serve my people, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to help everybody I can, and I'm going to continue to do it. I've been doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm the one that this lady back here is talking about. The church called me, and I told them I would donate the use of my land. They can't, because the zoning's wrong in it right now. They stopped it from Clyde. Yaron was good as gold about it. Yeah, our county employees have been nothing but excellent. From our EMS, fire departments, these firemen are usually the first ones that see these people in bad situations like this when they're out trying to do rescue and recovery and stuff. They see these people, they know where they're at, and they try to help them, and we've tried to help them. But it does bother me when people start saying stuff that's not true about it. And that, because I've not spread no misinformation, and anybody's welcome to look at your video that you took down there that day and see that I didn't spread no misinformation. Nobody said there was a vote coming up on it. I don't know, I got some mail.
Wait just a minute. John did say, y'all you've got people that can vote. You need to get them to vote, Terry. Tell it all.
And they were going. Somebody might be going to call for a vote.
You never stopped his misinformation.
Nobody said this. But now, speaking of a vote, then if we're going to speak of a vote, I can show you a text that went to Nancy Davis at the fairgrounds that said that there will be no, capital no, campers on the Smoky Mountain Event Center property. There were 70 down there or almost 70 down at the Southern Rock Woodstock without bathrooms, without anything. They're supposed to be in 30, we counted almost 70, 67 I believe to be exact. The night of this storm started, there was a motorhome in the arena grounds right there, right outside the ring itself. There was one sitting there then. And that, I didn't vote on that. I don't know if the rest of the board did or not. I didn't. Did you, Brandon? Did you? No, they wouldn't vote on that. So you can't go both ways. Can't have a vote, can't say no and the vote. You're saying there's supposed to be a vote for yes if we done whatever we're going to do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I never one time said there was a vote coming up. And I never said for no, the only thing I told John in that video, and anybody here is welcome to look at it, I said in that video that I was only one person. It would have to be voted on, and I was only one person before we could pass anything.
We believe Terry is a good heart.
I just want
you can't be speaking from the gallery. I'll have you escorted out.
He's called me about buildings coming in from Georgia, and they couldn't be placed. So I'm taking them to Yancey and Madison.
Another comment that was made is about the campers, and I think Mr. John, I can't remember your last name, but I think he's staying in an RV himself, and he's full time, so he chooses to do that. I can't knock him for that. If he chooses to stay, that's his right. We are allowing campers, as I've verified, for folks to stay in the county. Now, Commissioner Long brought this up. We can't override the city or the municipalities of what they choose to do because some of those have zoning. As a county, we are allowing campers to be put on properties because it's something that can be hooked up and can be unhooked quickly to be moved in case of another storm approaching. So we are allowing campers, which is some other misinformation that's been spread. I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying that I've seen this. I personally got an email yesterday that said there was over 24 children found froze to death. It said in our area. Now, that could have happened in Swannanoa, Buncombe County, Transylvania County, somewhere outside of here, but to my knowledge, that has not happened here. So that was some other misinformation that was spread. Another piece or another email that I received is that us and FEMA are taking kids away from families, and that is not true. I actually had a conversation with our HHS director this morning just to be sure 100% I was telling you right, but there has been 0 kids took out of a tent, a camper, or anything because of this flood situation. Now, what I will say, if you're staying in a tent and you're cooking meth, yes, now we will come and take your kids. But, or if you're beating a kid, or if there's any reason outside of the flood situation, but inside the flood realms, we are not taking kids. So that's some more misinformation that was spread. Another one that's being spread around is that we are seizing your property. And we're seizing your property because of, we want to take it so we can raise your property taxes. That's incorrect, sir. We are not taking anybody's property. I don't want anybody's property. Matter of fact, we want to help them just as we did back in Tropical Storm Fred. And I'll give you names and numbers. You can go talk to these folks and see if, as a government, we didn't help these people rebuild and help them with whatever situation they've got. Now, I'll be honest, the buyouts have been slow. The FEMA buyouts has been terribly slow. And another thing I've learned in governments, with the red tape, the government don't get no hurry. They're always terrible, even our government. So we have to make sure we're doing things right. So I understand that. But we are not wanting to seize anybody's property. We don't want to take your property. I personally don't, for sure. I've got enough to take care of. I don't want no other problems. We want to help you rebuild because we want you here. We love our people. We want to take care of our people. And we do not want to seize anybody's property. If you've got a camper, tent, mobile home, so that we can build $1 million home, I think, as the video said, to raise your property taxes. Matter of fact, I want to lower your property taxes. I do not want to raise your property taxes. And I have said that since day one, and I'll never raise property taxes unless there is a perfectly good reason that we need to do so. And one of those was putting resource officers in our schools. We put a resource officer in every school for our children's safety, because that's going to be my kids and my grandkids one day, and that's the reasons that I'm talking about. Outside of that, I don't want to up taxes, try to seize your property, have $1 million homes put on them. So that is false information. That is not true. And all these things are misinformation I think we're all referring to, not directed at you, or I'm not directing them at you, Commissioner Ramey. I'm just saying that there's a lot of rumors being spread, and it's sad that I try to sit in church on a Sunday morning trying to worship my Lord and pray and spend time with my family, and your phone is buzzing so hard that you can't even concentrate on the service because of misinformation that's being spread. And I think that's what all four of us are tremendously upset over, because the faults, the lies, the misinformation that's out there, I don't think none of us like it. We don't appreciate it, and I wished it would stop. I wish these people had been here on day one like we were, trying to help and make a difference in our county. I wish they'd been here during Tropical Storm Fred. We figured it out on our own. We went out and because it didn't get the national attention, and we made it. We fixed most of the issues, like I said, other than the buyouts. And I think we're going to talk more about the temporary housing in a few moments when I think we got a representative from FEMA that's going to come up, and you guys can hear what's going on. Again, my heart goes out to anybody that's in the cold. I know, I forget the gentleman's name, I wrote it down somewhere, but yes, sir, that guy there. But if anybody knows of anybody that is out in the cold, that's not intentional and needs help, especially if it's babies or something like that, and the lady back here, to the family that you've got, if you will get with us, us as a commissioner board, I can assure you there's none of the five of us up here that don't want to do what's right and to help our people. Thank God I get to sleep in a warm bed tonight. I've got heat in my home. Thank God I wasn't affected by the storm. But there's folks that were. They lost everything, and my heart goes out to them, and I can promise you before God that I want to take care of every one of them. So if anybody has any names and addresses, because I know a lot of folks have come up and said, hey, I see the sheriff shaking his head, yes, we want to know. We're going to take care of these people. As a commissioner, I don't care what these other four do. But as my seat that I'm sitting in, I can promise you, I know they will too, I'm going to take care of these people. That's why I'm doing what I do. No matter what kind of red tape we have to cut through, what phone calls I have to make. I've personally got contacts of folks in the federal government and our state folks. Matter of fact, we got one of our state guys here this morning. So you get me the names and addresses, and I can promise you I'll take care of them. So I would like to encourage everybody out there, and the family that you have, ma'am, if you'll get with me, or I'll hook you up some of our staff. We have locations that we have provided FEMA for, to be honest with you, we're going to talk about this in a minute, for quite some time. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but we're getting ready to get to it here in just a little bit. But we have land that I personally have had phone calls of folks saying, I've got 20 campsites that's available that folks can come and stay on. And we're going to hook these people up with them some way or somehow. So with that, again, I appreciate everybody that come and spoke. I know you come and spoke because you care, and I can promise you I care as well. And as Commissioner Long said, this is your constitutional right to be able to come to us. You can't go to typically a senator's office, or can't get to the White House, or you can't get to the Capitol building to voice your opinions like you can on a local level. And I think it's wonderful that you have those rights. But I just encourage you to please get the facts. And as some lady said, that she based everything off the facts. I think it may have been Becky that said that. I think it's your name. That's what I like to go on to, ma'am. I like to work on facts, not misinformation or mistruth. So if anybody has any information for us, please let me know, and we'll take care of them. And with that, I guess we can move on.
I'll say the people that I've talked to, and the calls I've got, and the people I've talked to out here on the street stuff, all they're concerned about is the gap between the time if there's a possibility that FEMA's the vouchers for the motels and stuff run out. They just don't want those people out in the cold. And the people that, and the campers that are having to have their systems pumped and stuff, a lot of campers are designed to be self-contained. A lot of them aren't, but they've still got to have somewhere to dump and stuff, and that's some of the main concerns that I'm concerned about. When if everybody get together and let's all work out a solution instead of one bunch done one thing and one bunch done another thing. I think we all work together. We can make this work for all the citizens. And again, I appreciate everybody that's done that and donated these campers and all, everything, your food or water, whatever, clothes. I appreciate that. And I'm like Brandon said, I'll be glad to help any way I can if anybody needs to get in contact with me or whatever.
On the emergency shelter, everybody keeps saying we need to have place for our people. We had an emergency shelter and we had to close it because all the flood victims had been taken care of, correct, Brian? So we had to close it. There was no more flood victims to take care of. You know, we're taking care of our people. I mean, I hear these stories and I'm like, it doesn't compute.
Hey, and I'll add to that, I'm sure all these commissioners feel the same way. If we got folks, babies, people out there that's freezing, that's truly in need, we'll open it back up.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I see no problem with that. So
yeah,
it will be reopened if we have a need. That's why I'm saying give me names, give me address. No more hearsay. We're going to base it off of facts. And if I have the facts that I have people that I can talk to that choose not to really stay on their property or whatever, we will put them up, whether it's on a homeless shelter or not a homeless shelter, but our emergency shelter, we will put these folks up to protect them from the winter elements.
And then also, Pathways is our local homeless shelter that, and people, y'all were talking about compassion. My wife that was up there when I got sworn in, her and I helped start Pathways. Her and I and the sheriff, the director from the Open Door at that time, and a couple of other ministries, and the commissioners in 2013 helped start Pathways. And we've had people in our community fight us on that because we have Pathways. But Pathways is very important right now. And by the way, they offer cold grace on these nights to where if you are an addict and they don't let you in, you can go there just for that night. So we do have cold grace during these very cold days. But the reason we have Pathways is because we had people with compassion that started that, and I'm proud to be part of that, and I'm not ashamed of that at all. I was fulfilling Christ's command, Matthew 25.
Got one other comment. Maybe somebody can clarify this. Is it possible to profiteer off sensational YouTube videos? Can you make money off of that?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
It is
Clicks,
possible.
shares, subscribers, comments, all of those things are monetized.
I think there's actually a link on there on the video that you can donate.
Yes, and you can make a donation.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess that explains the expression. This young lady here is Mr. Ward's, I guess, photographer. She's been videoing us the whole time. So, and young lady, you look like you have a very promising career. You might actually look to maybe distance yourself and get you a better job.
I take that as a compliment. At least you said that I have a promising career.
I'm through.
The sheriff of Haywood County referred to John and other YouTubers as social media antagonists.
Thank you. One quick cautionary note, and I want all the citizens in this room to hear what I'm telling you. Sometimes those who are coming and present themselves as helpers are actually not helping. And I'm not saying this about this young lady. I don't know her heart. It's not my position to judge that. But what I can tell you is that sometimes helping hurts if it's not done in the right way. And if you have any questions about that, happy to talk about what that looks like. And I want to personally thank each and every one of you, commissioners, for doing the job today.
When John and I left the courtroom, commissioners proceeded to throw shade at John.
This guy got up and left. He thinks it's a joke.
But he's making the money, so that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
In fact, at the very end, the people watching mentioned it appeared as if the commissioners were making threats.
Person in that case served time in the federal penitentiary, so I would be careful.
Yeah. And they were from Haywood County.
They were from Haywood County.
Outside the courtroom, John was interviewed. He has become a focal point of attention throughout this entire controversy.
Misinformation and so forth that they feel is there. Having heard their comments back to you today, where do you stand on all this at this point?
Well, the one thing that was wrong with the one commissioner, what he said was that I was saying that they're trying to seize their land, and that's not true. I didn't say that. I said that once they have to go back to build at the new codes to keep it from, to withstand floodings, that a lot of people can't afford that on these houses. if that makes sense. You know, they are going to have new codes. They can't come back and build it just like they were now, just in the floodplain if they're going to build there. So they have to build on stilts a lot of times, and that's going to be hard to go back and you can't put a manufactured home on stilts like a lot of them were. And so that's was one of my issues where he was saying I was seeing that they was trying to seize their land. They're not going to try to seize their land at all, and FEMA will buy their land. And that was one of the things that was off on the he said it was misinformation. It was on his part that I didn't say that. You know, they're not going to seize their land. FEMA might buy it, and that's probably the best thing. I'm not an opponent for tiny houses. I wasn't pushing for tiny houses because I don't believe in them. Because a lot of them said in there, that's not a good place to live in a tiny house with no electric, no water, and so forth. I was pushing for the county commissioners to vote to let RV trailers be parked underneath the arena at the campgrounds if FEMA stop their stays at the motel. You know, if they had nowhere to go, there's going to be a lot of people. As they said, there's almost 600 people probably that's being supplemented by FEMA right now. Well, if that had stopped, they needed to go somewhere. So my agenda was, why don't let them stay at the fairgrounds or lease property to FEMA because they was looking for space. They don't have enough space to find places to put these FEMA trailers. And so if they could, you know, like you heard me say when I stood up, my agenda was, why don't you lease space to FEMA, make money, the county make money from FEMA. But apparently they're looking for, getting to hear the gentleman from FEMA looking for individual properties that they can lease, which would probably be a lot better for them, you know, if they had an individual house and you don't have a whole camp, because a lot of people don't want to live in a camp. So it's really good news to hear that FEMA is not stopping the vouchers, and they do have places to go. So some of them maybe are choosing to live in tents, and so it cleared up a lot of things, and I think that they were pushed to make have a meeting with Amanda Fowler with the church there, that they're going to sit down and talk about some things. There are some issues that need to be addressed as far as people that are still homeless and why they are, if they're not reaching out to FEMA, outside if they just don't want to work with the government, you know. So there's a lot of different things going backwards and forth. So it's not an easy subject, and it's something that I just was so worried about people getting cold. You know, it's hard to live in a tent, or even in an RV, it's not easy in the wintertime. So, but it sounds like FEMA's going to go ahead and keep, you know, extending these vouchers, or maybe start renting other places for them to stay at.
Any rethinking of the tone of things that went out there? Haywood County Commissioners, heroes or zeros?
Well,
and
you
some
know,
of the language that went back and forth.
You know, I feel like that Terry Ramey was a hero for standing up. He wanted me. When I first met him, he never called me. It wasn't him that called me at all, and I was wrong about that. It was Amanda Fowler and her group on the tiny houses, and they took me to his property, and he wanted to put tiny houses on his property, on his farm. And I said, Terry, I said, that's not a good thing. There's no infrastructure, there's no electric, there's no sewer, there's no power. That's not a way to live. And that's what I told him about the tiny houses. So you never heard me say anything about that they should change that law on the tiny houses, because I wouldn't want to live in a tiny house myself. A motor home I do live in full time, that's okay, but it still gets cold in the wintertime. But yeah, the tiny houses is something that I don't particularly believe in, you know, from the live in, because that's just not a way to live with no restroom or nothing in it.
Do you feel a little better coming out of this?
I do. I feel like that FEMA has stepped up more than a lot of people maybe realize, and they're going to extend this, especially if they can help them through the winter. And it looks like they're starting to. It's just they was a little slow. I felt like they should have started placing some people a little bit sooner. But I guess it's just a government that moves a little bit slower than I want, but especially when you know what it's like when it's cold in the wintertime.
Okay. Your video is on YouTube?
Yes, and I do raise money on YouTube for the victims. I've raised probably $300,000 or $400,000 for Jake Jarvis at Precision Grading, who does pre-work for people. If they need their house tore down, they need a bridge built, whatever, he's volunteering doing it for free. So I have raised money different ways for him, and also for one family that was living in a tent in a different town, another county, not this county, in Polk County. and got them a car and an RV and some things. So yes, we've raised money through the channel. I'm very proud of that we was able to raise money for people to help them and other organizations, which I'm working with another organization now that's just starting. It's in Rutherford County. It's a camp for people to come to if they need resources and supplies, and a lot of the resources places are shutting down and no longer having supplies in some of these areas. And so where I'm working at there, what we're calling Camp Rosebuds, we see a tremendous amount of people still coming and getting food. Now, they're not coming and getting coats and hats and blankets and all that, but people have to eat every day. And to see a lot of these resource centers shut down without the food, whether it be victims of Helene or just people that's in a bad way that needs help, I feel like that some of these resource centers should stay open and to help some of just the needy people for food through the winter. But they're shutting down. A lot of them are, not all of them, but some of them. And a lot of people just reaching out and wanting to help all over the world to help people here in the mountains of Appalachia. And it's just a heartbreaking thing for them to see that people living in a tent and it's cold. They are still people in tents in different places, but little by little they are being replaced into there is a camp right here in Haywood County. I saw it today or last night actually. 25 trailers, or RV trailers, all in one camp on private property on a farm. I just don't believe that a private citizen have to take on having 25 families living on their farm. And I'll probably make a video of that, and that will come out showing that.
Where is that,
It's in Haywood County is all I can say. They can't give you an address on that, can't tell you who does it, but I will make a video. And I was there last night and looked at it and was planning on making a video today after the meeting. And why? It's set up neat and nice, and they stay there for absolutely free. It costs them nothing to get the RV. The gentleman owns it, gets them the RV free, provides the water, power, and generators and gas. So he's doing a great service, just like Commissioner Terry Ramey, who's just here for the people. And sometimes when you've got a heart for people, you can get a little emotional, and things can kind of get a little tense and aggravated. But I do feel like that now they're going to try to, we saw today so many people, this right here today, so many people come up and said, yes, they are people in tents and there are people needing resources, where they said they were not anybody needing any resources, but they are. We heard multiple people come up today and say, yeah, you're helping people right now. And so there's still people out there, and it's good to know that if they'll reach out to FEMA and see, it looks like they can get help, and it's going to be extended. We kept hearing 14 days originally as motel stay was it. And then now we're 3 months into it, and they're still extending it. So that is good news.
Speaking of videos, is it okay? Would we have your permission to use a little bit of your video and the news story that we're putting together?
Absolutely. Especially with Jake Jarvis there, and he is in Polk County. He's doing such an amazing work. He's a veteran, and he's doing it for free. He don't charge, you don't ask what your situation is. He just goes in there. If you need a road built in, you need your house tore down, pushed to the road, whatever, there's no cost to people. But he does have to have donations for that, and we have raised a lot of money for that. So, I'm not profiteering off that. All that money goes directly to them. Those checks are made directly to them, and I never handle those checks. They go to another person that works as a treasurer, and you can see that in the videos when we gave Jake money and other people. So,
what were your thoughts about this meeting with the county commissioners?
I think it was a stage game. I think that they wanted to seem like they were united, but yet when they started to put blame on one person or the other instead of coming together, that's where the corruption is, and that's where the control is, and they're losing control. But when one man is sitting there showing that there's corruption and money issues within one department, and then all of a sudden he gets taken off the board, and the head of the chair, who just got reelected on the 6th year on the 6th floor. Just saying, symbols and coincidences don't, because a lot of misinformation is going through this county, this city, this state, and this entire country, because the mainstream media is paid to tell their story, but it's bad for when we're paid to tell our story.
Those who watched the county commissioner meeting strongly disagree with the claim that John has never actually helped. The statement is untrue, as he has contributed in many significant ways. Through his videos, you can feel the compassion and see how passionate John is about what he is doing for the people of Western North Carolina.
And he's an American hero right there. And I need that. But this is all animal supplies. That's how Rosalie started out, was day 3 of the storm. She went to Tractor Supply and bought $250 worth of food for animals for anybody that wanted to come get it. And she put that food out and it was gone within a couple hours. But people saw her on Facebook and said, oh, well, she's giving out food. Let's take her some more food. And, yeah, it's turned into a major thing. It's a good thing. And people just saw what she was doing and helping here. And right now they're calling and say, hey, we have a whole trailer load of stuff we want to bring it. I said, that's great. You bring it, leave the trailer. We don't have nowhere to put it. Because all of these other places that's helping people are shutting down. And she's going to stay here forever. So any investment here that you put in money-wise or buying stuff, this is something long-term for people. We got a little bit of a view here that we can kind of see. We had probably 35, 40 people yesterday here working. She has a true crime channel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, cool. She does true crime. What's the name of it again?
Chronicles of Olivia.
Chronicles of Olivia.
Chronicles of Olivia. Subscribe and be part of this journey as we uncover the trials and tribulations of humankind. Everyone has a story worth sharing. Let's tell it together.